Oh, a grass fire. KCRA Channel 3 is there's a grass fire around somewhere around Sacramento, I believe. It is May, almost Memorial Day. And as an American citizen, the question is that, who are you? And I find it amazing because, should you pass, then they want to come together and talk about what you did while you were here in your lifetime. When you have an opportunity to make a difference, did you make the difference? And I try to make a difference every day because I had went to a Head Start conference when I was younger and my children were young. And the lady came and she had a book, I Make a Difference Every Day. And then, she did a workshop on making a difference and what it means to make a difference. And I'm saying, I know I make a difference because my children all graduated from high school. And more than, there were people with money and just had additional resources for their kids. And because they were living in a different area, they had more access to additional resources. And it's just real. Oh, my grandbaby is here. Just when I start my life. And you're running. Oh, look, you have a new toy. Daddy's always so good to that baby. Yeah. You got a doctor's kit? You're going to be a new doctor? How exciting.
And it got this right here, but I need to open it to put things in there.
Yes, you can. You can go put your babies in there. So go get them. And I'm on my live, but you go in the house. Oh, you want me to open it for you? Well, do I even know how to open it? Yeah. I do. Now go put your babies in there. They can go for a ride.
Look.
How exciting. So, intermission. No, I don't need to feel that I have to explain myself every time I get up here because, quite frankly, there's all kind of information out there on the internet about me and that I've shared. But when I come, and I'm coming lately too often to talk about the same thing. What is public services and what is public education? I need to go close this door because the AC is on and we're paying for all of that. Okay, so I say, what it is because so many people just don't understand. It is mandatory that we participate in this thing we call public services. And I'm saying, when you have a child, you don't even understand. You don't understand the consequences or the situation that you're putting yourself in because then you become property of the state. Once you have that child, you have to have a birth certificate. You have to have a social security card. Hello, Donnie. And I'm just saying, you have to have all of these things. So you have to participate in the process. Find yourself not participating in the process and see what happens. Oh yeah, they got some get right for you. It's called willful defiance. But they had the willful defiance in high school. And failure to comply. They had that stuff in high school too. And I'm saying, hey, Natisha, it is real. And here we are. Well, there's somebody saying something. I don't know. So many people have issues, and perhaps they wouldn't select to come in the room or allow you to show them anything. But understand what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter. We all have to participate in this thing we call life, and you don't really have a choice. And as you don't have a choice, it is up to you to figure it out. And I think somebody was trying to call me some kind of whatever. But I don't care what you say because I'm sitting here under a roof or area that we have a right to be in. And so many people don't have there are no guarantees. And quite frankly, Donald is making it prevalent that within 2 years, if you have not, found a way, then you will be on your own. And that being on your own thing, there are so many homeless people living in America. So many people that just don't have a way to do anything. And I'm saying, y'all just really don't. I don't know what you're saying, Jose. So I'm not sorry. I think I'm blessed. Truly just blessed to be living and understanding that failure is a choice. Because you have to keep on doing it until you make it. And that's just real. So a lot of people don't understand how so many people just made it thus far. My AC is running here. It's always running. I'm going to go over here in the corner and see if it's less loud. Yeah. At least it's cooler over here. I know that. Yeah. Okay. So just understanding the one thing. Hola, ¿cómo está? Come on in, I guess. You know, so I only know a few words in Spanish. And it really doesn't matter because we're all living here, living in America. My day is awesome because I woke up this morning. And every day is an awesome day. When you wake up, then you have an opportunity to do something a little bit different. Should it be your choice to do something, but you don't have to do anything. Life is about trials and tribulations, meaning that if you choose not to, then you just don't. And it's your choice. Moving forward in life is a choice. I have 3 boys. I have a 41-year-old, I have a 39-year-old, and I have a 24-year-old. And I raised those children by myself. And they all had parents. Let's put it like that. Oh, I feel sorry for you if you believe that God doesn't exist because, quite frankly, we are only spirits. If that's your level of faith, then that's what it is. But one day you will call on something other than yourself. And quite frankly, I hope you understand that the blessings in life come from your faith and your belief. But if you have, and it'd be the faith of the mustard seed. It'd be so little. Well, it's not about, I don't even know what it is. I know one thing. Whenever I need something, it manifests, put it like that. So, and you know, now I kind of feel like most people don't even understand that they have a duty to the universe and country. How is that? You don't believe in God, so it's the universe and country. And when you have a child, it's a gift. But if you never thought of it as a gift, then you think of it as whatever. And perhaps that's why we have so much violence, because people don't even understand the gift. Because it is an obligation too. It's just a responsibility. When you have children and they have needs, that's up. I am old enough, most likely old enough to be your G-mom. My mom passed at 84, and I am 66, getting ready to be 67. And you know, I remember when I was 55, and I'm still living. And so, you know, the whole thing is that what does the universe have for you? We have to choose. What will you choose? And it's going to be a decision that you'll make. And if you're not making it, then boo, it's on you because you're not willing to try. And trial and error, you know, they say trials and tribulations, right? What is that? Oh, you were going one way, and then it got difficult. Then you had to go what? The different way. Trials and tribulations. And as we are sitting up here listening to and understanding what's going on in the universe, why is it that every time we need to talk about how far we've come as American citizens in America, we are talking about somebody's unlikely behavior? I am living in Viva Las Vegas. Hey! And, well, boo, I mean, you know, it's what you were willing to take. Because failure is just not an option. My children did not fail. I had one child that was gifted and gate. And what does that mean? He was just gifted. And that's my oldest one. That's the one you probably seen going in the door, and he has a daughter. Then I had one child that was non-specific, and y'all probably don't know anything about public education, but non-specific means that you're in a catch-all category. They know that you have a learning ability or a learning inability, and they help you find it. And let's hope you do find it before you graduate. And then I had one that was severely MR, and you might even understand what that means, but I can't say the words because they will get bleep, bleep, bleep. And I'm saying he graduated with the 1-on-1 a laptop and above proficient. And I'm saying, what is proficiency? Well, let me explain to you. My son still receives Social Security as he was in the spectrum of autism, and he was a communication handicap. And what does that mean? Meaning that the words just don't flow. But we went to this awesome speech therapist when he was in the 12th grade, and she drew a center nucleus and then put rose petals all around it, or petals all around it, like a daisy, and then put one word in a box, and then asked him to think about another word that he could relate to the word that was in the box. And that showed him how he used his imagination, and he began to associate words that were alike with ideals and concepts that entered into in a conversation. And I'm saying communication is what life is about. Maybe I want to tell you about the best book I ever read was Who Moved the Cheese. Now you probably should go and get that book. It doesn't cost that much money. You find it. I don't know who the writer was, but the concept of the book was that all these rats lived in a little community, or mouses, mouses, whatever. And every day they would show up and go and get the cheese and enjoy life, and life was good, and everybody knew how good life was. And they were just showing up at the same thing, same place, same time, same station, right? Kind of like Batman. Like, because it amazes me how people watch television, and Young and the Restless and Search for Tomorrow, and, all that stuff was on television. And then Dick Gregory called it, he says, television is a vision that they would want you to see. And as I am not being led these days, I have a problem with what they did to R. Kelly. And I don't care, because the people in R. Kelly's community should have went over there and straightened him out, because, that does happen in neighborhoods, especially if they claimed he was going to the schools and socializing and giving all these children wonderful ideals about what they could possibly be, because he was opening the door for so many young people, and still is. Imagine that. From behind the walls of the penitentiary, R. Kelly is bringing some money to the people that are engaged with R. Kelly. I should write him and tell him I want to work with them too. That's just real, because new release is new release. And if he could make a song and send you the digital file and you could produce it, well, I believe that they allowed them to use computers as they are locked up for communication. And I'm saying speech and liberty and justice, as he is an artist. And they can lock him up because they claimed he had a sexual problem, but they can't take away his right to have a livelihood. And I'm saying this is just criminal, because I see that they had something on Smokey too. And then we want to talk about Luther. Poor Luther. I don't know what he loved. Did he love men or did he love women? But it really didn't matter, because Little Richard just loved everybody too. And I'm saying, please, Mr. Bojangles, as he lusted after white women. Well, if you voted for Trump, your Social Security is in great danger of being revoked. And Elon has, well, I'm going to tell you something. I can't say, I'm saying it is a time in this nation for you and I to wake up. And, it's the wake-up call. And it's a personal obligation, a personal responsibility to wake up and have a voice and utilize whatever you've gone through in life to step up. But how am I going to tell you to step up When I can only say, I know one thing. I filed a successful complaint against the state of Nevada in regards to what they're doing, in regards to willful defiance and behavioral norms, because these children are not being given their due process rights when they're moving them out of their public education system for life at the age of 11. I might tell you, at the age of 11, you too can lose your gifted and talented placement for life. Well, the whole thing is a lot of people don't even understand politics. What is politics? I mean, we got Papa Doc running around telling people that they shouldn't be putting their children in school, and I'm saying, oh Lord. But the one thing I have to say, you have to understand that you must know what the King's English is required, and he's talking about the somehow talking, or if you use the proper dialogue. Well, it's problematic. And I'm saying, no, but it's not problem. It's problematic when you can't get in front of a group of people and explain what your concerns are. And the mere fact that you would sit back and choose not to share, I'm saying, come on now. This is just ridiculous. I mean, but when they reverted, the federal government reverted its decisions with the Department of Justice and those communities like George Floyd. And I'm saying, oh, hell no. So hell no to the no, because I don't think you understand. We was all paying taxes. And we've been paying taxes for life. And for life and liberty, we've been paying taxes. And the tax system, well, you don't even understand how it works. But, they use that little thing. It's cold. The census, and the census is a tool. It's a tool. It's a digital tool, and they've been counting the people for years. And as they count the people, well, and then know this, like I said, R. Kelly is in the jailhouse because he refused to give them his money. And this shit all began because he has some child support case going on. And child support, okay. We just couldn't go through the child support thing. I mean, I had 3 baby daddies. What was I supposed to do? But I did have a husband, and he was in the Air Force. And then when I divorced him, of course, I should have just, but I didn't want to deal with that hell. That was just hell. Divorce was real. But I remember the boot coming to my face, and I always remember the boot coming to my face. But, the universe took care of that. So you don't even have to worry, because the universe is going to take care of this too. And, when the universe has something good for you, and you can say you don't believe it's God, or because quite frankly, it's the universe, and it determines if you're going to be here or not. Did you know that there was a story of this one officer that went to work one day, and he was the only one that drove under that bridge, and that thing fell down on him. But when it's your time to go, you're going to go. Well, let's just understand. It makes a difference how much money you make. And just because you are breathing this air in this universe, the city is getting, and the state and the county is getting some dollars back to the community because you are living in that part of that territory. Hello. We all generate some kind of income, some kind of dollars, so they all make sense. And quite frankly, what was created in America was a system that would support the states in providing public services to their parishioners or their constituents. But goddamn, when you ain't never been a constituent, do you vote? If you vote, then, and it's more than voting. A lot of people say, oh, are you talking politics? I'm saying, well, it's how they spend the money. And I'm saying, it's the dollars that we all pay. But we had already decided who would benefit from those dollars that were collected from the, tax system. It would be the children with disabilities. It would be the children that would be, severely disabled, or children who needed a second language, or children who were gifted and gave, but not as much as that, or children in poverty. And it's that poverty, it's that at-risk factor that makes the world go round, because it just generates Title I. It generates neglected and delinquent. It generates, did you know that for every 100 children in the state of California that would be deemed as being neglected and delinquent, well, hell, would generate $1 million for that state. And I'm saying, jail is too much for tax. Well, hey, that is what R. Kelly is in jail for. But this is what all this racketeering and these black folks is on trial for right now. Racketeering? What is racketeering? Racketeering. Well, Giuliani was almost over there in the jailhouse because they had him on some racketeering charges. Thank God Trump pardoned him. Hello. But homegirl got pardoned too. So many people got pardoned. They were criminals. But what is criminal behavior? It is whatever you did. Oh, the ruling group, the ruling party, the people who do what? Choose to do what? Engage in the process, boo. See, these are Orleanders. They're very toxic, but they make a great wall, privacy wall. That's what I call it. I'm saying what you don't understand is that you didn't have to vote, because what we realized had happened in certain towns, certain cities that Trump won, well, they threw out so many votes because they couldn't validate the votes. I believe that every person should have a vote in America. And I believe that we should fight to use the thumb. And if we're using the thumb like we fought for those people to go over there and show us their thumbs, like we was over there unaliving people in their community, and when they got to win, they got to show their thumbs, and their thumbs were all inked up. That's what I think we should do. But y'all gonna have a really good understanding that pimping was never easy. So, somebody's been doing it. Well, of course you can't, because you would have had to been paying attention. I can't pick up on what your political stance is, so just say them. That freedom was never free. That one right there. And I can do and say whatever I want to say. And I'm more Democrat than I am Republican. I vote Democrat because they're the ones that are looking out for everyone's interest. But, the whole thing is that we have so many homeless people, truly just homeless. And then we're all sitting there watching television. I mean, come on now. There's nobody's out there counting how many babies are not going to school. And nobody's out there counting, how many people are locked up in the penitentiary. How many people can read in the penitentiary? How many people are in the penitentiary in the first place? But some cities and towns and states have lots of people that are locked up. Why do you think that, the president is trying to ask other countries to take our detainees? Well, they might as well be whatever. Really, life is what it is, but it is what you choose. And choice is everything. And my sister said, Darlene, you've been saying the same thing for years, and I really have. I've been talking about special education. I've been talking about freedom. I've been talking about using your voice, making a case. When she was working for Sacramento City Unified School District, we had a Microsoft Family Technology Night. Now, she was the employee, and I was her sister. And what we did was we contacted Microsoft, and they gave us software. And then we were working with this young man. His name was Jerry Seed. Jerry passed away because of cancer, I think. But the whole thing is that he was giving us computers that were refurbished by people who were locked up or whatever. And then we gave away a computer, and then Microsoft gave us the software, and we had family technology nights at all of the elementary schools where she was working. But you can do whatever you want to do. We have all these damn community partners. What I'm curious about is how come the state doesn't use Google? How come the state is not partnering with Google? Because the state doesn't have these tools, and they have to buy user tools. And quite frankly, in a state where there's nothing but tech everywhere, I'm trying to understand the partnership in the first place. Because, gambling, casinos, and I don't know how that really works, but I do know they can track every penny you spend, so it's an opportunity to win, but it's an opportunity to lose too. And it is what it is. And it's just always going to be what it is. But we're waiting on the people to wake up. And it's unfortunate. So I think that Donald getting back in office has been an awesome opportunity for everyone to wake up and know that it is you. You know, when I wake up in the morning, hey, because when you wake up in the morning, you need to look in the mirror and say, well, what are you going to do today? And what can you do? People say, well, what can I do? Well, number one is voting, but number two is understanding that failure at the local schools. You should look online because you don't have to go there and disrupt, but you can go and look online. But if the people are not putting out the data, then you need to hold the state accountable because data is all we want. We want this data. Failure is not, everybody has to document how they spent that money. Even the Boys and Girls Club, because they were going to give the Boys and Girls Club here a whole lot of money. Well, I can see why Seattle, Washington, is a good state because y'all got all that tech up there. But what they say, y'all, Facebook is moving to Texas. And so Texas is getting ready to have some tech. And besides, they have all these cloud facilities, places where we all have an address in the sky. It's not really in the sky, it's down on the ground. But when you buy a device, it's like you can't wash it off. Whatever you do in your life is just going to follow you for life. And so you might as well just understand they got everything. So you might as well keep some stuff for yourself. Yeah, I've had to send my information into Facebook in Seattle, Washington. They asked me about my driver's license. They want to know what do you want to know? Was I a lobbyist? And I said, no, I'm not no lobbyist. For what? And then I tried to participate online. This is how the state discriminates discriminates against you individually. Number one, printing to the cloud. Printing is a problem because it won't print out of my printer before it has to print to the cloud, and they just collect everything. And I really don't care they collect everything. But you do know, no matter where you go, if you're printing something, you gotta have your driver's license, and it's gonna go to your cloud. Hello, wake up, it's 2025. But when the only way probably is to use an old typewriter. Now, then they'd be looking for the ribbons when they try to incarcerate you. But think ahead, that's what I'm gonna say. Yep, and then here we are, living here in Nevada. And Nevada has an 88% population of black children in the juvenile facilities. That's problematic to me. It's a problem. But when you have all these black, especially like Usher, he just got the key to the city. Okay, he got the key to the city, but Negroes is 88% population in the juvenile facility. So what's going on? I know a lot of black children are just talented naturally. My grandbaby being one. My children are talented. They got high school diplomas. But what about all these people who don't have one? Hello? Do you realize that when they realize that you don't have a high school diploma, they could let you go, even if they never asked you for one? And then, what else? Everything about living in America without the inability to open your goddamn mouth is problematic. People say, oh, Darlene, you are, and my sister said, don't be putting that stuff on me. I said, boo, it ain't about you, it's about me. And that's how I've lived my life. And we're only associated because we have the same mama. And my mother taught her too, because she was the chief of the legal division of Caltrans and served there for many years and retired. But when you come here, after you've been gifted, retirement, and you work for the city, and you come and just plop down and do absolutely nothing because you see all this dysfunction and you ain't got shit to say. And I'm saying, I'm sorry. I have a lot to say. No, there's black people up there because I got friends up there. You just don't see them. Yep, but it doesn't really matter because we are in America, and quite frankly, the obligation for the advancement of people who look like you under God truly is reality, is your responsibility. People say, I ain't got nothing to do with that. No, I like to breathe the air. And the air where I live, I enjoy breathing the air. But I would like for the air to be best quality, you know? So we have to watch people because people who can get away with shit, they do. And why wouldn't they get away with it? It's kind of like all that money sitting on the table for Medicaid and Medi-Cal and Medi, and all children qualify for health care services. Did you not know that? But in some states, they ain't getting no health care, and they're going to cut health care. No, I'm saying they make it so that you can't make a choice to live your best life because you was out there doing something foolish. Now you got the baby, and you ain't got no home. Oh, they'll take that baby, and then they'll pay themselves. They elected to give like $50,000 a pop to some of these people for having these children who have drug babies, or they identify them some kind of problem. But when these people ain't making it, and there's no assessment of the services that the trash bins out there too, no assessment of the services that are provided to the people who are receiving the services based on what the state has provided, and it's unacceptable. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because failure is unacceptable, and the government has decided that the governor has decided that school choice is relevant. I'm gonna let y'all see the tower where I live. Yep, see it? There it is right there. That's what we live by these days. So every state has an obligation, and every state has an obligation to the civil rights data. Why? Because we all pay. We're all paying for public services. And so, but if there is real evidence and your state ain't got no evidence, I'm sorry for your state, because the feds have an obligation to pull that money back and give it to a state that is willing to work on what? Work on American citizenship. Hello. So it is real. I mean, freedom was never free. What is that arrow there? Okay. And to understand that how freedom was never free, understand. I mean, California was progressive. I mean, they taught me how to advocate, and I got to learn how to fight for resources for my children. That's why all of my children graduated above proficient, and I do mean above 8th grade level. But if you are saying that somehow that that's irrelevant, no, it's not, because we're all paying for public services, and I do mean paying for it. I created a podcast more than 5 years ago, and they say that I've had some 16,000 views, but I'm not getting any pennies anymore, because I was over there on Anchor, and I was getting pennies, and I do mean pennies, more than pennies. I was getting $25, and $25 is a lot when you ain't making no other money no other way. But, it's not like I got a lot of money and not even enough to claim. But guess what? When I was taking care of my mama, it allowed me to go and get some Panera bread or go get some diapers under Target. But who knows? They're still, that's what's changing. My content is valuable. And if you go and subscribe to my show, it doesn't cost anything. They wanted me to put a subscription price on that. And I can say that I truly, Trash Man is really loud, do not believe in everybody subscribing and everybody having everybody's bank information to get that money monthly. I don't care if it's $1 or a dime or whatever, but they need to come up with a different gimmick so that we can share and support other artists, and not having it attached to our monthly bank account. And somebody will come up with some idea. I know it's going to happen. And it should happen. Oh, it's almost time for our meeting. I'm in this Incubate Vegas program, learning the business side of making money, of actually charging. I could charge people. I still help people. I have helped people where their kids didn't get expelled. That's real. You have to challenge the state. You have to challenge your local community. Did you not know that failure is not an option? And they have to actually tell you what it is that your child needs to know or needs to do to be successful. And they get all these tools because you didn't understand public education is like health, a health evaluation. And they know what works and they know what doesn't work. And so they have tests that tell you. That's how come every state got to choose a different assessment tool. to demonstrate that they were doing what they should have been doing with the money from the first place, instead of paying their friends. Because that happens a lot, so many times, that these people create these not-for-profit agencies and they're really not benefiting the local people, but it really doesn't matter because the money was promised. Do you understand what I'm saying? And because you don't pay attention and it's on you, it's personal and it's problematic. And my children didn't fail, but I served as the chair of the District Advisory Committee for Title I and compensatory dollars for Sacramento City Unified School District. And I did what I did, but I question what you're doing because I can see. I mean, I was on Al Sharpton's show. He finally got an open show that he does, and I think it might be daily, but I'm not exactly sure. I think it might be daily. But, he's having people call in, and he's having communication with people. And I'm saying, 24 hours ago, somebody's trying to get some money. But at least he's letting people share. And I'm concerned. I mean, every time we should be talking about how far we've come since 1964 and since Brown versus the Board of Education. We're not talking about that as a race of people. And I'm saying we've got all these black elected officials, but they're told that they're not there. They were not elected to deal with the black issue. Well, the black issue should be dealt with the pastors and the preachers, but for whatever reason, that money's not going that way either. So I don't know where it's going. Oh, it's just going to, they try to pull away from having race-based community support. And so Proposition 209, you should probably go look and read Prop 209 and that little fat black guy that helped them push Prop 209 in the state of California through the process. But it was the beginning of not documenting equality or not documenting equal access. And they have to demonstrate that they provided the same access to you as a child without a disability. So I'm just trying to understand. Y'all, my children didn't fail. My children are not incarcerated. But how in the hell does the state have 88% population of black children in the juvenile division? And there's no services for them. Somebody tell me that shit, especially when you got a black AG and a black congressman. That's right. AG Ford, and then Hirschford. And then we have black legislators, so many of them. But when you have a black person that's still over there in historic West Side, and he would give Usher the key to the city, and then Usher not sit down with the black community. What the hell? I don't care who's sitting down with the black folk. Somebody tell me something, because this is not real here. It just gets on my nerves here, because I did have a mastectomy. But what can I say? I'm a little teed off because, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. And we have all these black entertainers and NBA stars, and then we understand what happened to Henry Ruggs. Where were the black people that had some pull, working with Henry, understanding he needed to understand how he needed to behave when he got here, extended family. We ain't no extended black community no more, because people are just living their best life. They ain't got time to deal with you. And when you understand, I'm living my best life, ain't got time to deal with you niggas, and hey, and then you just have to learn how to squabble up, because Kendrick said what they talk about. They talk about nothing. They are talking about something when they're talking about you, and that's just real. So the real deal is, people should have gotten ready. The song? People get ready for the train that's coming. You don't need no ticket to just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the leaders calling. You don't need no ticket. Of course, you don't praise the Lord. And so many people just don't. They want to say, oh, I'm atheist. Sure is. Until somebody cut off your toe. Then I don't think you're going to be atheist no more. There's certain things that people can do to you that awaken you. And I think that, when they're saying that perhaps we should not look at the history of America, not know that it was black people that built the White House, It was black people that didn't have behavioral issues. But when you look at Diddy, well, Diddy, I don't know. I mean, that was an opportunity for people to do what the hell they wanted to do when they wanted to do it. And people with money do what the hell they want to do. And I'm saying nobody made those people go and do and participate, but they did. And so why are we finding out? Because they had the money to do so. And I don't know. It's not my thing. Quite frankly, I didn't listen to R. Kelly, and I thought it was criminal because his music was not dysfunctional. He was all about saving ourselves and saving himself. And the real deal is that he didn't play the game. But when people don't play the game, they don't. Look at Calvin Richardson. Now, he was supposed to be performing somewhere, but he doesn't play the game with them. He's his own. He owns his own music masters, and he performs locally. And I mean, he's worldwide, but he performs locally. I mean, but he's worldwide. But understand who determines who's worldwide, because they own this industry, and they just do. But we have allowed them to own whatever, and that's just real. But they don't own me. So, warning, 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 warning. I've gotten so many warnings. Nasty flies out here. Yeah. Remember that one time when the ink was running down his head and the fly was landing on his head? That was crazy. I mean, because the camera certainly picked it up, and we all watched it. That was tense. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, but so many people just don't pay attention. And it would make a difference anyway. Would it make a difference? Hell if I know. I know that states' rights have given every state the personal obligation to activate. For what? Activate for the children who are not making it. And the Biden-Harris administration certainly said that by 2020, they said in 2020, by 2024, all children who were born in 2020 would be enrolled in an early education program. And my sister tells me this every time. Darlene, we could solve the failure problem in America if we would what? Just ensure that equal access happened and adequacy was happening. So Head Start actually does that. And it happened here because Tyrone Thompson, he was a senator when I first moved here, and I got to meet him. I didn't physically get to shake his hand, but he was at a meeting. And the AG was there. And it was at the NAACP meeting. And it wasn't that kind of meeting. I mean, because the superintendent of Clark County was there, Jesus Jara. And Aaron Ford was there, along with Tyrone Thompson. And they were talking about the incident that happened at a high school where some Caucasians were running around and they were Trumpsters and they had flags and they made some death threats on some young African-American children online. They did it online. And what they were there to explain to the community is why the state was not going to do anything and intervene simply because, what did they say? Oh, they could not, those boys, even though that was a federal crime, they could not put those boys in the penitentiary with those juveniles because the prison here was 88% black. And I said, oh, that's how it works. Money talks and bullshit just walks. So the bullshit that happened was when there was a group of boys and there was a fight and someone had a knife. Well, the person with the knife, unfortunately, did not make it. And everybody that was there, because it was a racial issue there, the one with the knife was white. The one without the knives were black. There were too many. He had a weapon. Those boys went to the adult prison. I want to say there were parents on the other side that made sure that those boys that were involved in the incident where the boy fell and hit his head went to the adult prison. But I'm saying you come to the event with a weapon. What did he expect? I don't believe he expected anything, but I believe that he was there with the intent to do harm. That's why he had the weapon. But when you don't work with your children, they lack communication skills. And when the school district that you're involved in doesn't encourage good communication, well, it's problematic because communication is everything. But there's other demonstrations that that Nevada had not done the work that they should be doing, because there was a black man who went to another state and chased his wife around a car in the middle of an event and took out many people. And I'm saying that's mental illness, but I'm saying that's a problem when the people in your state are not being educated to the point where they're effective communicators and they can articulate their concerns. And I articulate my concerns all the time. But my sister said, Darlene, it's like nobody listens. And I'm saying, well, let's understand. The last chance of the federal government allowing a state to do some work in your local community comes to your governor. And the governor has his hands in many pots right now. I suggest to the local community, make sure that it's going to affect the community in which they have to provide services to. Because pimping ain't easy. And oh well, some people do it very well. It's time for me to go get some water. I thank you for tuning in, but I would appreciate it if you would go over there to my podcast over there, where I have over 16,000 views. It's Spotify, Parent Empowerment Half an Hour, and it's on Spotify. Or check me out, Citizen Anderson, over there on Podbean. But know that I've been around for a while, and life is about the choices that we make. But when you're going to choose to step up, step up. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll be back.